Okay, so I want you to picture a scenario. It's a small one, maybe even trivial.
Okay.
You're sitting in a restaurant, you're holding the menu, and you've been staring at the same two options for, I don't know, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The pasta or the salad?
The classic analysis paralysis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And your brain is doing this whole elaborate dance. Well, the pasta's heavy, but I had a light lunch. Or the salad has that dressing I like, but is it really worth $20?
Yeah.
You're just debating.
Weighing the pros and cons like we're taught to.
Right. But here's the thing, and I've totally caught myself doing this. While my brain is still making its case, I realize I've already put the menu down,
Yeah.
or I've already slagged down the waiter. The decision is, it's already done. My stomach or my chest or something signed the contract 5 minutes ago, and my brain is just the lawyer trying to justify it after the fact.
That is a perfect description of the central mystery we're diving into today. We love to think of ourselves as these logical commanders.
Huh?
We gather data, we analyze, we execute. But the source material we're looking at today suggests that whole timeline is, well, it's completely backwards.
It's a little unsettling, to be honest. We're digging into this collection of writings on a concept called orientation before action.
Hmm.
And the core argument is that by the time you think you've made a choice, your body has already made it for you.
And not just that it's made the choice, but that it has done the math. The sources describe this not as some mystical premonition,
Yeah.
but as somatic sensing.
Does that make sense?
It's a physical lean that happens before your mind even gets a chance to start narrating the story of the choice.
I want to dig into that word narrating,
Yeah.
because that implies the voice in our head, the one we think of as us, is really just the play-by-play announcer.
Not the quarterback.
Yeah, not the quarterback.
In many ways, yes. The text opens with this very specific line. Before thought finishes forming, something in the body already leans.
It leans. That's so subtle. It doesn't say decides or chooses.
Exactly. It's not a conclusion, it's a direction. It could be a tightening in your chest, an opening, a slight pull forward, or even just this quiet resistance. These are physical events.
And the mind is just the historian explaining the move after it's been made.
It's catching up.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a second, because that sounds risky.
How so?
If my body is just leaning and my brain is playing catch up, isn't that just impulsivity? Isn't that just acting without thinking?
That is the common fear, right? We think if we're not consciously thinking, we're just, I don't know, reacting like an animal. But the source argues this lean is actually the result of massive data processing.
Massive data process.
It's just happening too fast for words.
So what is actually happening in that split second? If my brain isn't forming the sentence, I want the soup, what is my body doing?
The text breaks it down into 4 operations that are all happening simultaneously. While your mind is still looking for the vocabulary, your body is referencing, it's scanning for safety, it's feeling for alignment, and it's anticipating consequences.
Whoa, okay, that's a lot for a split second. Let's slow that down.
Sure.
Let's use a higher stakes scenario. Say, you're walking into a job interview. You open the door, you see the panel of interviewers. What do those 4 things look like then?
Great example. Okay, you open the door first, referencing. Your body instantly dives into its biological archive. It pulls up every authority figure you've ever met, every similar room, every moment of judgment.
So it's checking the files, like, have we survived this before?
First asking, what is this? Second, it's scanning for safety. It reads the micro expressions on their faces, the lighting, the distance to the door. Is there a threat here? Third is feeling for alignment. Does this room feel like me? Does this energy match my core self? And finally, anticipating consequences. It runs a quick simulation. If I step forward, how will it feel? If I run away, how will that feel?
And it does all of that.
Before you even say hello, by the time you shake their hands, you already have a lean. You either feel a slight expansion, a willingness to be there, or a constriction, a desire to protect yourself.
And then usually my brain kicks in and says, okay, be professional, smile, fix your tie.
The narrative begins. The noise starts. And that brings us to the real problem, because that signal, that honest lean it, happens so fast we usually miss it. We get hijacked by the anxiety of the mind.
So the whole mission of this deep dive isn't just to know this happens, it's to actually catch it, which feels almost impossible if it's that fast.
Well, the only way is to lower the noise floor. The source is really clear on this. Reduce noise. And they
Yeah.
don't just mean turning off the radio, they mean the internal static.
Which is the hardest static to turn off.
Absolutely. The text suggests a protocol that sounds simple, but is actually quite hard in practice. Slow your breath, pause your speech, notice sensation.
Pause speech. I feel like that's the one most of us fail at. Especially in awkward moments or high-pressure situations, I tend to talk more.
Right, you fill the silence.
Yeah, because silence feels dangerous.
We use speech to defend ourselves, to control the narrative. But the source argues you can't transmit and receive at the same time. If you're busy generating words, you are not receiving somatic data.
You have to stop broadcasting to read the dashboard.
Exactly. And the rule from the text is the first signal is often the most honest.
Yes, I remember reading that.
That first lean before the shoulds and the what ifs kick in, that initial tightening or opening is the raw data.
I want to distinguish this from gut feeling in the way we usually talk about it, because sometimes my gut just tells me to run away because I'm nervous.
Right.
So how do you tell the difference between I know this is wrong and I'm just scared?
This is the big one. It's the battle between knowing and thinking. And the source draws a really interesting line here. It says, the mind seeks certainty. The body seeks alignment.
Oof. Wow. Say that again?
The mind seeks certainty. The body seeks alignment.
The mind seeks certainty. That's so true. I want a guarantee. I want to know that if I take the job, I won't get fired in 6 months.
And the body can't give you that. It's not a fortune teller. It's a compass. It doesn't know the final destination. It only knows the immediate heading. It's checking for alignment with reality now, not a guarantee of the future.
Okay, so let's get practical. I'm at a crossroads. Big decision. How do I recognize the body's no? Because, like I said, fear feels like a no.
It does, but a somatic constriction is different. The source says a true no is a constriction that happens before the justification. It's an immediate physical closing down. Your chest gets tight, your stomach drops. You might even physically pull back a little.
Okay, so that's the no. What does the yes feel like? Because I think a lot of us chase excitement. We think a yes should feel like butterflies or adrenaline or this kind of manic, let's go energy.
And that's exactly where we get into trouble. The source is adamant about this. Embodied intelligence is not frantic.
Not frantic.
A somatic yes doesn't feel like a sugar rush. It feels like calm clarity.
Calm clarity. That sounds a little boring.
It's grounded. It's solid. Think about a time you made a decision you just knew was right. Were you hysterical, or was it just settled?
Settled. Yeah, that's a good word.
The text calls it a steady pull rather than a frantic push, a coherence in your chest or gut. But here's the nuance that I think changes everything. You can have this sense of ease, even if the decision itself is incredibly difficult.
Okay, that's the part I need you to unpack. Ease even if the decision is difficult. Because those two things sound like they cancel each other out.
Right.
If I'm deciding to, say, quit a secure job, that is not easy. It's terrifying.
The situation is hard, for sure. The external reality is full of friction. You might be crying while you do it. But, and this is the key, internally, the system settles. There's a sense of, this is right. The war inside stops, even if the war outside is just beginning.
That makes so much sense. It's the difference between the pain of the event and the pain of resisting your own truth.
Exactly. If you are frantic, if you're spinning out at 3 a.m., that is usually the mind trying to force a fit where there isn't one. That's not a yes, that's a forced yes.
This leads right into the whole idea of flow. We treat flow like this magical state where everything is easy, like a surfer on a wave. But if ease can exist in difficult decisions, then flow must be something different than just easy work.
The source completely redefines it. It says flow isn't found through force, but where resistance decreases naturally. But the definition that really stuck with me is this. Flow is friction without fragmentation.
Friction without fragmentation. I love that phrasing, but I don't know if I fully get it.
Okay, think about an athlete training, or maybe, let's keep it mental. Think about writing a difficult report that you actually care about.
Okay.
It's hard, right? There's effort. Your brain is burning calories. There is friction. You're pushing against a problem, but you don't feel like you're splitting apart.
Right, you're not fighting yourself to do it.
Exactly. You are whole. All of your energy is moving in one direction against the friction.
Versus what's the opposite of that?
The opposite is endurance. And the source defines endurance as constantly overriding yourself to move forward.
Oh, I know that feeling. That's the Sunday night feeling before a job you hate.
Yes. It's the feeling of fragmentation. Part of you is screaming no, and the other part is just whipping that first part to keep moving. You are literally splitting yourself to get the job done.
That is such a crucial diagnostic tool. Am I splitting myself right now? We glorify endurance. We call it grit. We call it hustle.
We do. And sometimes you have to endure things, of course, but you cannot build a life on endurance. The source warns that if you are constantly overriding your body's signals to maintain a path, that structure will eventually just collapse. The path to flow is the path of least internal contradiction.
Not the path of least resistance.
No. The mountain might be steep,
Ah.
but you aren't fighting yourself while you climb it.
This all connects to the idea of direction. If we're trying to find this unsplit path, how do we even know where to look? And the source has this warning that I think is critical for anyone listening. Do not follow urgency alone.
This is a big one. Urgency is our default setting. Everything feels urgent. Emails, the news.
I feel called out. I pretty much operate on urgency. If I'm not a little panicked, I feel like I'm not being productive.
And you're not alone. It's a dopamine loop. But the source says urgency is often fear disguised as importance. Urgency is high-pitched, it's frantic. It suggests we should follow steady resonance instead.
Resonance. That feels like a vibration, a matching frequency.
It's deeper. Think of a bass note versus a high-pitched alarm. Resonance is sustainable. Urgency burns out.
Yeah.
If you're making a decision because you feel like you have to do it right now or the world will end, that's probably fear talking.
But we have to be realistic, right? We can't just follow resonance and ignore our bank accounts. You know, my resonance tells me to live on a yacht, but...
Well, my bank account says studio apartment.
Exactly.
The source addresses this head on. It has a whole section on reality versus fantasy. And it's very grounded. It says the correct direction is one you can inhabit without splitting yourself, and that includes acknowledging reality.
So reality is part of the equation.
It has to be. The text says realism includes your actual capacity, actual environment, and actual consequences. If your plan ignores your real-world limits, it's fantasy.
And if your plan exaggerates your limits...
That's fear. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not smart enough. It's too risky. That's fear lying to you about your boundaries. Reality is right in the middle.
Okay, we've talked about the body. We've talked about the mind. We have to talk about the heart. Because honestly, when I see the phrase follow your heart, I usually tune out. It feels soft. It feels like bad advice for serious people.
It feels like advice for a romantic comedy, not a boardroom.
Exactly. Just do what you love. But this source redefines the heart in a way that is, well, it's almost technical. It doesn't sound emotional at all.
This is my favorite part of the entire text. It calls the heart integrative awareness.
Integrative awareness.
The source describes the heart not as a pump for emotions, but as a compression algorithm.
Compression algorithm. Explain that. That sounds like computer science.
Well, think about all the data you're processing right now. Physical sensations, memories, your mood, your intuition about the future, your sense of the person you're talking to. Your conscious mind can only hold, 3 or 4 thoughts at once?
On a good day, yeah, maybe 2.
Right. So where does all that other data go? The source argues that the heart is the system that integrates all of it. It takes these massive complex data sets, logic, emotion, sensation, history, and compresses them into a single, simple sense of direction.
So when I get a feeling from my heart, it's not just a random whim, it's a synthesis.
It's the output of a massive calculation. That's why the heart can know things the mind can't explain yet. The mind is looking at one tab on a spreadsheet. The heart is looking at the whole database.
That completely reframes the whole head versus heart conflict. It's not logic versus emotion. It's limited processing versus full spectrum processing.
Precisely. That's the implication. And when the heart leads, it's not reckless. The source even gives a checklist for this. How do you know it's this integrative awareness and not just, wanting something really badly?
Yeah, how do I know it's not just desire?
The signs are about stability. When the heart leads, it says, you feel grounded. You can breathe. And this is the big one. You are not chasing approval and you are not fleeing discomfort.
Not chasing approval. That's the killer. Because so many of my so-called logical decisions are actually just me trying to impress someone or trying not to disappoint them.
Which is a form of chasing. The heart doesn't chase. It's centered. It doesn't need external validation to know a direction is right.
And not fleeing discomfort. That goes right back to what we said earlier. The heart might lead you directly into a storm.
It often does. And the source ends with a guarantee, but it's probably not the one people want to hear. It says, the heart does not guarantee ease. It guarantees alignment.
Which brings us full circle. The body seeks alignment. The heart guarantees alignment. And the mind is the one running around looking for certainty and ease.
And causing most of our suffering in the process.
So if we strip this all down, someone is listening to this right now, driving to work, maybe doing the dishes. They have a decision looming, a big one, based on everything from the split-second lean to the heart as an algorithm. What do they actually do?
I think the first step is to stop looking for the answer out there. We're addicted to external data. We read reviews, we ask our friends for advice, we make pro-con lists.
We try to solve the problem with the mind.
And the mind is just too slow. The most actionable step is just to create a pause, a tiny one. Ask yourself the question, and then, before the debate starts, just watch what happens below the neck.
Catch the lean.
Catch the lean. Notice if you tightened up. Notice if you felt a little drop of relief. Notice if you physically pulled forward. That micro movement is the beginning of the truth.
And then just trust that signal enough to explore it. You don't have to act on it instantly, but don't dismiss it just because you can't explain it yet.
The words come later. The body leads. The mind explains.
I love that final thought from the source. The mind can debate endlessly, but the heart recognizes. It's such a simple distinction. Recognition is instant. Debate can take forever.
And if you're debating, you're usually trying to talk yourself out of what you already know.
So for everyone listening,
Yeah.
think about that thing you're debating right now. Just for 10 seconds, stop the debate. Where are you already leaning? That's where the path begins. Thanks for diving in with us.
Take care.